Great ones, welcome to the Conversations with Champions podcast. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I am a speaker, a trainer, and soon I just published a new book. I'm also the CEO of the Randolph Speaker Bureau, where our focus is we help speakers unleash their voice and ignite their full potential. Today, I have a special guest with me. His name is Greg von Borssum. And Greg von Borssum is living proof that adversity can forge greatness. A national bodybuilding champion, a three-time Mr. Universe finalist, a Hollywood filmmaker, a pistol shooting champion, and Greg has also earned Toastmasters, rarest accreditation. Please put your hands together for Mr. Greg von Borssum. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, thank you. How are you going, Johnny?
I'm doing well, Greg. Why don't you tell the other great ones out there where you're calling in from?
About 1 hour north of Sydney in Australia, about 7 a.m.
7 a.m. Nice. Tell me something interesting or something good just going on with your life right now, Greg.
A few things are happening. We're building a new company at the moment, which is taking me interstate quite a bit with some friends of mine. Actually, a lot of ex-filmmakers. We're building a very interesting medical project, which is going to be interesting. And so that's sort of under wraps, but it's doing well. And other than that, speaking and helping my kids reach their goals. I mean, for me, now that I'm 55, my kids take precedence. I'm meant to be at the World Shooting Championships this year. And at the same time, my son is meant to be competing in Prague at the World Tap Championships. So he gets precedence because I've won a world title and stuff. So
absolutely.
For me, it's to watch the kids grow. So my daughter, Maya, she's 14 with her own YouTube channel. And Mason's off to the world titles representing Australia at 18.
Suffice to say, then, you're busy right now.
We're always busy, but I love it. It's good. It's the way to be.
Good stuff. Well, if you've ever watched the Conversations with Champions podcast, and if you haven't, shame on you. You need to watch it. What we do is we will react to our guests performing a speaking engagement. So what we're going to do right now is watch Greg as he performs. We'll react to it, and then I'm going to interview him to get a peek behind the curtain, to get a little access to the magic and maybe even the madness. All right, so let's get started.
Johnny speaks, wheelie man, truth and heart with a brilliant career. He tells a tale, helps us see the best in you, the best in me.
I love you. I will miss you. But I can't take the pain of this life anymore. And I just need to close my eyes and go to sleep forever. These were the final words ever written by my wonderful auntie, just moments before she lay back and so sadly ended her life. 18 years have passed and still I wonder. I wonder, did she ever reach out for help? I wonder, did anyone ever see the signs? And I wonder, did anyone ever ask her, are you okay? 3 simple words, but 3 words with the power to save a life. You don't need a psychology degree to say them. You don't need medical qualifications. You simply need to care. To care about your family, to care about your friends, to care about members of the community, people you might not even know. It's called humanity. We've been starting to lose it. You see, years ago, if we had troubles and struggles, we could reach out to a friend. We could speak to a friend. But we don't do that anymore. We're too busy locked onto our phones to even notice a friend in trouble. Too busy uploading endless selfies to Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, trying to impress the world with what we're meant to be living, the life we're meant to be living. We've become nothing more than a bunch of pretenders, pretending we've got our act together, pretending life's so fantastic all the time, when it's not. But unfortunately, there's a flip side to this coin. You see, what happens when we see these images of people having great times all the time? It makes us feel like our lives don't add up, that our lives aren't worthy. And it's given life to 3 life-ending words: depression, isolation, and suicide. Depression has now become the world's largest disability.
I didn't know
The
that.
numbers are getting worse. Loneliness and isolation have been clinically proven to be as damaging to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Oh,
But that's just the tip of the iceberg. In Australia last year, we lost over 3,000 people to depression and suicide. In the US, you lost nearly 50,000 people. But you know what? They're just numbers. Do numbers really matter? I want you to do me a favor. Everybody close their eyes for a moment. I want you to imagine all your wonderful family, your friends, the people you've got relationships with. Think of the great times you've had together, the beautiful moments, the memories. Now imagine tomorrow morning when you open your eyes, every one of those people were gone, taken drastically from your life.
that would be terrible.
Now open your eyes and be blessed to know they're still here.
Yep.
Because these aren't numbers. These are people. These are lives. And lives matter. Even one life lost is too much. And the fact that even one suicide affects a minimum of 100 people. That means in Australia last year, over 300,000 people were affected. In the US, nearly 5 million people were affected. Starts to become a little clearer. And people say to me all the time, I just don't know why. I didn't see the signs. Why didn't they just reach out for help? Well, you know what? The fact is they did reach out for help. But you never saw the signs. Because so often, the signs are hard to see. You see, usually depression is hidden behind a smile. You go to work with a smile on your face, trying to show the world that everything's okay, when inside your head, you're in the fight of your life. Fighting to get through the days, the hours, the minutes, the seconds. Trying to prove to yourself why you should even bother going on. And you fight on and you fight on until one day you don't. So how do we recognize the signs before it becomes too late? What can we do to see these things? Well, I'm going to tell you. Depression is very physical. It's very rare that someone's going to come to you and say, hey, I'm depressed today. They don't do it. It's like mining. You've got to dig deep. You've got to find this stuff out. So what do? We look for the signs. First off, is people become isolated because you go inside your headspace trying to solve this problem. And sometimes when all these voices are in your head, it becomes insurmountable and you don't know how to fix it. Over time, you start becoming run down. You stop eating so well because you can't sleep so well. And so when people come to work, a lot of the time you'll find there's extra sick days. They turn up late, or they turn up looking more disheveled than normal. These are all clear signs that someone is struggling. If you're on a very physical work site like I grew up in as a kid as a builder, you've got to be careful because people become careless and reckless. Because if they don't care about their life, they're not thinking about yours.
Yep.
Notice these signs. And if you see these signs of someone struggling, of someone having a hard time, don't just brush it off. Go, you know, Charlie's not talking today. Ask them those 3 simple words. Are you okay? But there's 2 bigger signs that you need to really understand. If someone's struggling big time and they're right on the edge of it, people start giving things away. They'll give away all their possessions. And don't just go, wow, look, Jimmy gave me a new PlayStation. How good is this? No, Jimmy's struggling. Jimmy's on the edge. You've got to look for those signs. If people give away all their stuff, there's a reason for it. Ask the question, are you okay?
Are you okay?
And the last sign that someone is on the edge, they completely give up and they become happy. If someone's been depressed for a long period of time and suddenly they're happy, you don't go, wow, great, that's awesome, they're so happy now. No. You know why they're happy? Because they've made a decision to end their life. And all those pressures and all the weight of the world that was crushing them down and pushing them down, it's gone. because they've made a decision to end it. And now there's no more pain and no more trouble. So ask the question.
All right, you okay?
I know these signs all too well. I've lost 12 people from my life to suicide. My first friend at 16. And a lot more since then. Every year, I seem to lose someone else. I want you to raise your hands. Has anyone here ever lost someone to suicide? Raise your hands. I'm sorry. It's global. This isn't just isolated to America, Australia. It's global. And we need to make a change to this. In 2013, I found out the signs firsthand because I went through my own struggles with the darkness. I was a failed school kid in every sense of the word. In fact, I was so bad at school that I was kicked out of 3 preschools by 4.5. By the age of 5, my kindergarten teacher pulled my parents aside and said I would be the reason she quit the profession.
Wow.
But no matter what people said to me, I had this dream. I had a dream of making movies. And no matter what was said, I always had this in my mind, my head. I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
And so I went for it. And it took me years, 15 years of struggle, 15 years of failure, 15 years of people telling me no. 15 years of going to work in jobs I hated all day just to come home and teach myself how to make movies at night.
I love the commitment and passion.
In 2003, this failed school kid, this self-taught filmmaker, walked onto the film set of the Hollywood film Happy Feet 1 as one of the film's directors. And success led to success. We got to make Happy Feet 2 and then moved on to Mad Max Fury Road. I was made the principal fight choreographer, the weapons advisor. I trained all the actors, trained all the stunt performers, and designed all the action for the movie. A dream come true.
Dream come true. I love it.
It's amazing how quickly a dream can become a nightmare. From the moment we landed in Africa to start making this film, nothing went to plan. Departmental troubles, issues with the actors, issues with the studio, and we very quickly spiraled out of control. And after 12 months, the studio had had enough, and they came in, and with a single stroke of a pen, they shut us down. And my dream became a nightmare. And we returned home to Australia with nothing. January the 9th, 2013. It was my birthday, and as my present, I lost my career. Within 4 weeks, I went from the top of the world working with A-list Hollywood actors to the bottom of a muddy lift shaft with a shovel, scraping dried mud off sheet pile walls as a labourer, 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, just to try and make ends meet. It took me to a really dark place.
I could see that.
A place where I struggled very quickly to find my way out of. And it doesn't take long for these voices to start talking to you in your head, telling you you're no good, that you don't have what it takes, that people were right about you. And it takes you down. And to make it worse, no one on this site knew me. No one knew where I'd come from, how I'd fallen, or what had happened. You know why? Because it was all hidden behind a smile. But if they just looked, if they just known the signs, if they just looked behind the smile, they would have seen I was struggling. Because when someone smiles for real, they light up the room. Their eyes change. It looks
It's
amazing.
contagious. Yep, I agree. It's in their eyes as
So when
well.
someone's struggling, the eyes don't change. It's like its own personal little oxymoron. There's a smile and there's pain. You've got to look behind the smile to see what's going on. They needed to look for the physical signs, the way I was slumping and walking around the site, the way I lacked energy, the way I lacked speaking. I stayed away from people so I didn't have to talk. All signs that I was suffering, but no one saw the signs. So I kept going lower. At home, I was becoming a bad husband, a bad father. My wife would want to talk to me when I got home from work, but I didn't want to know about her. My kids would want to play with me, but I didn't want to play with them. I had no energy. I was so emotionally and physically crushed. And it wasn't that I was trying to be bad. I was trying to protect them and keep them safe from all the pain and anguish and fear that I was going through.
So you took it all on. Yeah.
The whole time I was too proud or too stupid to reach out and ask for help. After 1 year of this, I had nothing left. And I was in the darkest place I'd ever been. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was my birthday 1 year later, January the 9th, 2014. And I was done. I got up early that morning and I walked into the bedroom and sat next to the bed, just looking at my 2 kids, watching them as they slept, listening to them breathe like I did on the day they were born. And I thought to myself, how will they go on without me if I don't come home? Maybe they'd be better off without me. And at that very moment, my little boy just happened to open his eyes. Mason looked up at me and just said,
Daddy.
I love you, Daddy.
Uh-huh.
And I thought to myself, what are you doing? You've got to fight. You've got to fight for these kids. You've got to fight for this family. You've got to fight for this life. And so I made the promise to myself to fight back. I kissed my 2 kids and I headed out the door to work. I walked onto the building site about half an hour late. And as I did, a workmate of mine, Benny, walked past me. He headed into the decon chamber where we got changed, and he took all his protective gear off as I got mine on. And I turned and watched as he headed up to the 14th floor of the building. As I walked out of the change rooms, he hit the ground in front of me. It was the most devastating thing I'd ever been through. We ran in to try and save him, to try and help him, but it was too late. So many people saw this happen. So many people witnessed this. The heads of the company didn't know what to do, so while they tried to find help, they corralled 1,000 workers up into this staging area and left them there. And after I finished my interview with the police, I remember walking into this room and seeing these big, tough, strong guys all sitting there, staring at nothing, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to say. And I don't know to this day what came over me, but I felt compelled to speak. And I got up and I said, you know what, guys, this stops here.
Today.
We think we're tough. We're not tough.
Right. Make a stand.
We're not tough until we can raise our hands and say, I'm struggling, until I can put my hand up and say, please, I'm having a hard time, help me. I said, if anyone else in this room is feeling the same way, you come and see me when I'm finished. I will walk you to help myself. When I finished, 6 workers came up to me and said they were thinking of doing the same thing.
Wow.
And we walked them to help. And they're still with us today. That was the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was the moment I realized that I had a purpose again, to fight back, to help people's lives. But I knew first I had to help my own. So I started putting steps in place to improve myself. And I want to give these steps to you, because I know in every audience I've ever spoken to, there's someone struggling, someone too scared to vent themselves, to tell someone they're having a hard time. Please talk. If you're having a hard time, I want you to do these things. Number 1, tell someone. Everyone here has been through some hardships. Raise your hands if you've felt days where you've had a rough time, you didn't want to go on, things have been tough, you didn't see the purpose. Look around, everybody. It's pretty much everyone. You've got friends. Use them. Talk to them, please. Start keeping a journal. If you keep a journal of your thoughts, you will do so much better. Because when thoughts all hit you, they become overwhelming. But when you write them down, you can break them down. Then they become solvable.
Okay.
Start getting some exercise. You know what? Half an hour of exercise improves your brain health for 12 hours. 2 exercise sessions a day, you're good to go. Remember that. But not just in the gym. Get back to nature. Get your shoes off and get on the grass. You know why? It's clinically proven that getting back to nature recalibrates your body.
Okay.
And it brings you back to better brain health, better physical health. Success versus fulfillment. Too many people are chasing dollars. They think success is money. It's not, it's a tainted word. Don't use that, use this, fulfillment. What makes you want to get up in the morning? What makes you happy? What makes you smile? Is it your kids? Is it your family? Is it your friends? Is it just going to do what you do, your family time? That matters. Use it. That's what makes you happy in life. It's clinically proven that that makes you happy. I left the construction industry and I worked very hard to become a national ambassador for Suicide Prevention Australia and for Lifeline. And we released our film. We got back and finished that, and we did well with that film, and I made a promise to walk away because it was more important that I help people get back on the path of life. And out of all my time working in suicide prevention, I've learned that life comes down to just two very simple things: connection and communication. That's it. We need real friends, not Facebook friends. Friends that you can look at, friends who you can talk to, hold, hug if you need to, friends you'll be there for, who will be there for you. And we need to start talking again. Get your eyes off your phones, people. Look up, look, everyone's got eyes. Use them. Look at each other. You're good-looking people. I can see you from here. Utilize it. You've got great people all around you. Speak to them again. It's a beautiful experience. Don't waste it. But I want us today to do more than that. I want us to start being the agent of change. So I ask everyone here to please stand with me with a little more energy than that. I know it's early. I've got friends at home in Australia. It's 1:30 in the morning. They're doing it tougher. All right. Now, I want you to say with me these very simple words. Are you okay? On the count of 3. Now, once you do that, don't jump in early. Once you do that, I want you to turn the person on your right and left and give them a great big hug. You know why? It's clinically proven that if you hold and hug someone for 1 minute, it actually releases oxytocin and makes you feel better. So on the count of 3, are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Are you okay? Now give him a hug.
Good stuff. I love it. In American church, it's common for people to say, turn to your neighbor and say something and give them a hug.
Together, we can change this planet one life at a time.
Standing ovation. I get it. Greg, great job. That was my first time seeing that. Great job.
It's still really hard to watch, for me.
Why so?
Well, it takes you back. Like even every time I speak on suicide prevention, it's the one topic I wish I never had to speak on because I wish it didn't exist. So when you go back to those things, you experience those times again in your head, which is, it's a very important thing for me is that I'm through that. And I know how to keep myself really good. And I like imparting it to other people, but it's a really tough thing to re-engage with again.
It is.
That's right. I went through all that stuff, but it proves what you can do if you never quite quit. There's always more in the tank if you dig in for it.
Absolutely. And a lot stood out to me, but those 2 C's, connection and communication, as powerful tools to help solve a lot of the problems that you're going through.
Exactly.
Very great. Very good stuff. Well, Greg, I want to go back in time and we'll arrive at this moment for the speech and go on further. But in your bio, I saw that you are a martial arts specialist. Is that correct?
I've been training for about 50 years now.
Okay, so how did you get involved in martial arts?
So as a kid, we grew up in a sort of a more housing commission area. And so I was the youngest by about 5 years, and I used to get picked on by everybody. I was weak, I was skinny, I had really bad skin problems as a kid, and I used to get singled out and picked on. And I just got to a point when I was about 12 years of age when I'd had enough of that and I wanted to change my life. And it's like you can kick a dog so many times that either going to roll over and die or it's going to bite you back. And I just thought I'd bite back. And so I started trying to instigate change. And it wasn't until I actually went, because school had told me I was not going to amount to much. And so it wasn't until mum and dad sent me to my grandmother's place. And my grandma was quite an extraordinary lady. And she really lived a massive life for a lady, who'd grown up in the bush. And she always explained to me that there's always more you can do and more you can be, but you've just got to commit to change. And she said, there's nothing you can't become. So what do you want to be? Go find it, go become it. And so I did. I decided I wanted to be strong and I wanted to be, physically skilled. And so I started studying martial arts and I started weight training. At the age of 12, I started with a very committed mindset.
So you said you remain active. You've been studying it for 50 years. Why do you continue to study and to train?
I'm sitting in the dojo now. It's my private dojo at my house. So
I love it.
We've got a massive, I built a private Okinawan karate school on our property when we first moved to where we live now because I saw a lot of lost kids and I wanted to teach them how to be mentally strong, physically strong. And then we built a speakers academy as well to help train the communities. We've done that with all the kids up here, which has been amazing. I continue to do it through everything. So I've had both my hips replaced. I've broken my back in multiple places. I've got so many injuries. It's unbelievable, but I love it. It's because of the career I've had and what I've shaped myself into. I try to lead by example now. It's funny because when I was a kid, I started achieving out of revenge. Because when I was 12 and I found my first bodybuilding magazine, I didn't even know the sport existed. I'd been to the gym and I found this magazine. And I found a photo of a guy called Bob Paris, who was this exquisite physique. And I went, that's going to be me. And I went to my friend's. I went to my friend's place and we sat on the floor with his parents and he was training with me a bit. We were both skinny as a rake. And we're flicking through these pages and I found that photo of him. Bob had just won the US National Heavyweight Championships. And I said, that's my path. That's what I'm going to do. And I jumped up in front of his parents and said, that's me. I'm going to win the National Heavyweight Bodybuilding Championships. And they literally laughed me out of the house. It was like, to them, the funniest thing they'd ever heard. And to me, it was the most cutting thing because I finally made a decision that I'm going to be something. And I remember I left their house, I went back to the gym and I sat on the bench and I looked at the photos on the wall of the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Frank Zanes, the Lou Ferrignos and went, you know what? I'm going to show everyone what I can be. And that was it. I just dug in and went for it.
So in your accredited speaker speech that we just watched, you talked about the importance of exercise, getting exercise and even getting back out to nature. How has your exercise regimen, how has it impacted your ability to achieve whatever goals that you have set forth for yourself?
Well, it's everything because it gives me the dojo here. My dojo gives me clarity. I come in here and I train, and I'm becoming. It's funny when you start off being young. When you're young, it's all about the combat, the defense, the fighting, all these things. But as you get past it, and you've done many years of that, it's the kata and all the other things become more important, and you realize you're sort of working out your spirit. You're not working out to fight, and you become one with the universe pretty much. And then we live right by the water, by the beach here and that. And so we're on the beach with the family all the time. We've got the hills here. We're up in the hills. And I think that getting into nature is incredibly important for recalibration. And I'm not even talking medically. I just think you can feel it. You feel the change. And we're very fortunate here that if I turn off the Wi-Fi, there is no phone reception. So in the mornings, if I think the kids are on the phone a bit, I'll click it off and just go, you know what, guys, we're off the grid. Let's go.
Yeah.
And keep them dedicated, you know?
Yeah. And it kind of, to me, if I'm hearing correctly, it becomes a metaphor. You're fighting because in life, it is. You have to fight, but it's not also just pure aggression. There's a discipline to there. There's an enlightenment to it. There's a thinking and a spirituality, the spirituality and the physical kind of colliding together. And it gives you ability to kind of master that.
It does. And it puts when the world's in turmoil, you can make your head very peaceful. And for me, that's really important. I think a lot of people surround themselves now with so much. The trouble with what's happening today is there's no time for backbraining. I mean, we've got this stupid looking thing, which, everyone's got one. And and the trouble is we live in them and we don't get any time to backbrain and create. Creativity only happens.
You talk about, you are a speaker, obviously, and part of speaking is storytelling because you told several throughout your speech. Now, you wanted to go into Hollywood, right? And Hollywood and making movies, that's all about storytelling. So how did your venture into Hollywood and making films, how did it affect your ability to public speak and incorporate stories into it? Did it change it? Did it enhance it? Did it add a different perspective? Did it annoy you? Like, what was your experience?
It's really different because
you
got to remember, you've got certain mediums you can work in. Like public speaking is very, very visual, which is what film is, and very audible, which is what film is. You can't, and if you do dream sequences in movies, that'll get the first thing the studio will cut. So you have to make it very much those two things. But storytelling for me is very personal. And I think when you're trying to film a narrative and work on a specific narrative, there's things you have to let slide as well. But I think for me, the journey is very personal when I speak. I find it really hard to talk about things I haven't been through. And so what I learned in filmmaking is structure, which is wonderful. I think that's one of the main things I took away. But I got into filmmaking because I had no structure. So it's been a weird dynamic because I was an untrained filmmaker, taught myself to make movies, won a whole lot of film festivals, and I wrote a screenplay which was so different from everybody else's, not because I'm a great writer. I just didn't know how to write. And I wrote this thing that was so different. They took it on. They said, this is the wildest thing we've ever read. We want to put it in development. And that's how I got in the industry. And they don't know I would have worked for free. I mean, I was just so happy to be off the building site. And, I was getting like $1,000 a week. And I was like, that's the best thing ever. I was just like a pay cut from building. But I said, I would work here for nothing just to be here, And it became a 25-year career, which was quite amazing for someone who's, just a buffet from the building site. I never have a plan B. I have
never.
I have an anti-starvation plan. So all these Hollywood people talk about never have a plan B. That's absolute BS, because you need something you need to survive. You need to eat. So you can't just go to plan A or nothing. So my plan B, I do something I usually don't like much. So it forces me to keep my eye on the goal. So building, laboring, carpentry. I love doing joinery and that with my dad because he was wonderful at it. And I love the experience of being with him, but I didn't love the trade. And I used to sit outside the building site every morning for half an hour, psyching myself up just to walk in there because I hated it so much. And it kept me, instead of getting down in the doldrums about it, I thought, you know what?
Kept you motivated.
Get into this, I would get home from building and I'd start writing films at night. I'd start making films at night. My weekends.
Right.
I was so driven to get out of this thing I hated. And then eventually I started getting little nibbles and things would change. And over time, I got so busy in film that building could just go away. And that's how it worked. But I've always had the anti-starvation plan because you have to eat. You've got to be serious about it, but never take your eye off the prize.
Now, I'm interested to know, how did you get into public speaking and presenting?
It happened from that situation in my speech. So I spoke on that building site off the cuff. I was like one hair away from doing that thing myself. I was so close. I was just finding reasons to hang on. And what I've learned is that if you're living something, if you're living all about yourself, you will one day find something bigger that will crush you. But if you make it about something more than yourself, you'll always stick around. So I made it about my wife, my kids, my friends, my family. Thought I have to stick around for them. And so that's what kept me going. I found that inner strength to fight on for other people, not for me. Because if it's about you, you'll eventually quit.
How have you grown as a speaker from that kind of, not the first speech, but when you started speaking on stage to where you currently are now? What would you say are some of the biggest changes that you've seen in yourself as a speaker for those moments?
I don't care about being the best.
Okay.
I think you've got to take your eyes off yourself.
Okay.
My mindset's changed very much. When I first used to go out on stage and when I started speaking, like the first convention I ever did, they had no idea I'd never done a convention speech in my life. And I got hired to fly to Queensland to do this thing. And I rang my wife and I said, this is either going to be effed or fantastic. I said, either way, we've got to work out what we're going to do next if it goes badly. And so, I mean, for me, it was about, I used to psych myself up, I'm going to smash it out of the ballpark. I'm going to do all this great stuff. And it would send me out there in a different mindset. But then over time, I realized it wasn't the right one. And then I thought, well, what am I here to do? And then I thought, you know what? If I can change some lives through what I do and what I say, through experiences I've lived through, then that's why I'm here. And I think that's made it. So I'm there to impart or to teach. And not so much teach because it's a bit egotistical, but I'm here to impart through my life experiences how, if you can apply some steps, maybe you might see things differently. Yeah.
And I don't think it's egotistical to say that you aspire to teach or want to teach or that's what you're doing. And I completely agree with you in the platform. As I am a speaker and I'm an active member in Toastmasters, and I competed in the international speech contest for last program year. And I've competed before. And before then, I was always really anxious. I wanted to win. I wanted to do my best. I wanted to do all those things. And this term, I don't know, for just some reason, I had no desire to win or lose. I just wanted to get out there and share my story and hope that it connected with somebody in an audience. It didn't have to be all of the people in the audience. It didn't have to be the judges. I just wanted to connect. And I found that I had so much fun, had so much energy. And actually, I ended up going farther than I'd ever gone before. When I went farther than I'd ever gone before, not trying to win, as opposed to when I was trying to win. And that really taught me a lesson. Like, yeah, all we can do is just be a vessel and try to put forth our best effort to connect with somebody.
But you just tell them honestly your life story and the challenges. And here's the thing. Too many people talk about their achievements. You hear I don't talk about, we've won 7 Academy Awards. I don't care. It doesn't mean anything. It's if I get up on stage and say things like that, the audience separates because most people at the time aren't thinking they'll ever achieve that. And you either sound like you're egotistic or you sound like you, and they just disassociate with you. So for me, it's about the journey to the point. So
and
how
it
do I
is.
struggle through?
And it is. And it's about bringing the struggles to fruition. Because to your point, most people will not win an Academy Award, but they can see themselves in the struggles and the triumphs and the decisions that you've made. So I definitely concur with you on that part. Now, mental health, I appreciate you for being an advocate for mental health. And that's something that's great. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've encountered when pursuing your advocacy for mental health? And how have you overcome those? Or are you still working on overcoming them?
No, for me, on a personal level, because I've got all my steps in place of how to always stay on top of my game, I never have a drama with that. But there's a lot of people speaking in the industry in this part of the world. And I think in the stateside too, I've experienced a lot of them who aren't through their stuff yet. And it's a really dangerous place to be because it's not vetted. And you've got a lot of people who are speaking about their experience, but then they relive it totally. And it takes them into a depression mode again. So that's really been a problem for me, that I've had a lot of discussions over the years with how do we make this better? How do we gauge things? And so that's been one challenge for me. And the other one is that a lot of charities in Australia, and I've always spoken for Lifeline of these charities totally free of charge. I don't take 1 cent, never will. And there's a lot of speakers who do take quite a bit or takings from the day. And I just think if you're an ambassador for a charity, I think that's really wrong. I just think you do it because you actually want to do it, not because you should be taking a cut from it. I have a problem with that. And I mean, and I don't mind people getting paid. I just think when it's certain charities, no. But I think that for me, I look at, I understand the speakers have to eat. I get that, as well. But as an ambassadorship versus a paid speaking gig are very different things. And I think it gets very blurred out here sometimes. So there have been challenges, but I mean, that's, they're all small things really.
Okay. Fondest speaking experience that you've had?
The fondest?
Yeah. And why?
It was, I think for me, it was the first paid gig I ever got, which was Henry Schein Halas. They're one of the largest. So they're one of the largest companies in the world. They run all basically everything dental in the world, tools, every single dental piece in the world is owned by Henry Schein Halas. And I met a guy. Here's what reinforced Toastmasters for me. I went to a professional speakers thing, and it cost me a lot of money. I had no money back then. We were going through a lot of troubles, and I paid like $1,000 to go to this speakers week. And I learned so little. It was the worst. And they had I put my hand up all the time just saying, mate, you're offending me. This is the worst garbage I'm paying for this. And I don't know what you're saying. It's pathetic. And I spent a week and a lot of money at this thing. But out of it, I met this one guy who was same as me. He was getting really upset about this whole thing being just bad. And so I'll give you an idea. The head of this whole organization couldn't even be bothered turning up. So he sent a video of himself on a laptop, but with the tiny little IBM speaker, so no one could hear it. We're all going, what's he saying? And I said, this is meant to be a nationally recognized body for speakers. Wow, if this is the best there is, it can't be that hard. So after this whole day, but I met this guy there, and he said, would you be interested? He said, what do you do? And I said, I want to be a speaker. He said, well, explain to me a bit about your life. So I did. He said, well, do you want to come speak at my business? I went, cool, okay. And he said, the only thing I learned from the whole week, he said, what do you charge? And I said, it's about $3,500 for a speech. That's because I learned that one thing at that week. That's all I said. The average speaker gets $3,500. So I said $3,500. And so I didn't know a thing. And he goes, right. Then he said to me, I'll ask the board. I went, board? Okay, this is sounding bigger than I thought. And then he rang me about 40 minutes later from the airport because I've spoken to the board of directors. They're really happy to have you. It's going to be fantastic. We'll fly you to Queensland, put you up in the hotel, and you're speaking at they said you're speaking at the global sales conference for Henry Schein Halas. So I started typing in Henry Schein Halas. I realized they were at the time about the 8th largest company in the world. So I went, this would be interesting. And I remember I prepared this whole thing. I thought I better prepare something. So I prepared this entire speech. And I went to the awards thing that night before I was speaking in the morning, and I realized everything I prepared was wrong. So I sat up till 3 a.m. saying I have to teach these people something better. And so I revamped an entire story, and I got up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and as I'm walking towards the auditorium, my wife rings, and she goes, how's it going? Have you done it yet? I said, no. I said, I'm walking in there now. I said, it's either going to be horrendous or fantastic. I said, I'll ring you now, I'll let you know. I said, if it goes well, I'm a speaker. If it doesn't go well, I guess I'm back in the building site. So and I get up on stage, and I got onto it. I got into it. I got stuck in, and I thought I had to do an hour, and I'd never done more than 10 minutes. And so I'm through all my stuff. I'm finished. I'm going, oh, wow, I'm done. It's been like 15 minutes. Like, what? And then I looked at my watch, which you should never do, but it had been just under an hour. I went, wow, that went really. And I got a standing ovation, and I helped save some people's lives. And I got a massive
That's amazing.
applause.
Good stuff.
And I walked off stage and went, wow, okay, I guess I'm going to be a speaker. And that's what started.
Gonna be a speaker.
Yeah.
Sometimes destiny chooses you. I love that. Just final questions that I want to ask you is, what advice would you give to a person that's an aspiring speaker or a person that's currently speaking that's attempting to reach their next milestone?
Well, I guess it depends on the milestone, but don't be afraid to speak for free. Everyone wants to be a paid speaker. Like I did hundreds of speaking gigs at, out here we've got ProBurst, we've got Rotary, we've got all these different groups, and just go and speak, and get experience, get out there. And I mean, if you're good enough, you'll eventually get paid. Like, I mean, to me, that's always been the thing in any industry I've ever been in. If you're good enough, the money will come. Money's a byproduct of you being good. And you've just got to get out there and keep going. I mean, there's no easy path. Everyone wants the golden ticket. I mean, I hate it. It really drives me nuts because every time I speak, people want, how did you make it? How did you win a world title? How did you win? How did you? It's like, I worked really, really, really hard when no one else did.
That's it.
Yeah, all night in the dark. I still now, when I'm preparing to do anything, I free speak a lot. So I get in my karate school here, and at nighttime, I turn the lights off so it's pitch black, and I speak in the dark, and I visualize the crowd and the response, and I just talk about anything, and I make it into speeches, and that's how I get the experience to speak. And over time, I guess, as you improve, you'll start getting booked. That's sort of what happened. I got up. I didn't expect to be doing a 22-city tour of America after giving a 20-minute speech on stage at a mental health conference, but it made an impact, and that impact drew these people to me who then booked me and then paid me to go speak across America. And that was a massive start point. So it wasn't planned in that respect. I think you can try and plan too much stuff out. I think you have to be honest, be truthful, let people in. I don't like the word transparent. I think that feels shallow. I think let people into your heart space. And I think heart space over head space means a lot, because don't give me a statistic till you tell me why. Like give me the story of the one before you tell me the story of the many. I want to hear about the Johnny Randolph story. I want to hear that, and then tell me why it affected 10 million people. Like instead of telling me it affected 10 million people and not telling me why. So I think there's a lot of things people need to just be true to yourself, and don't worry about being the best speaker. That's just a whole heap of garbage. It's opinion. What do we say? Opinions like backsides. Everyone's got one. So
we don't say that, but I know what you're saying.
I know you. I'll give you my Toastmasters.
We'll do the PC. We'll do that. That's fine. You could have said the other word. That's fine. But yeah, that's fine. I got you. Well, you hear that, speakers out there, from a professional, from an actor, from a martial artist. Don't always worry about getting paid. Be good at your craft, and things will start to come. Greg, I love it. I love it. So please tell the people where they can find you at.
Pretty much everything of mine's under GVB Mind Warriors. So my website's gvbmindwarriors.com.au. I've got YouTube's under the same, Instagram's under the same. It's all pretty much the same. And all my content's free. I just chuck it up there because if anyone wants to watch it, they can. I don't do it for the monetary gain, that stuff. I do all the YouTube stuff, the Instagram stuff, just done to maybe the things I've put up in the past that I wondered why at some point in time have changed lives of certain people at certain times that I never expected, and saved lives too. So you never know who you're going to affect with what you do. So if you've got one follower or 1 million or 10 million, it doesn't matter. Right. That one person may be the one that's relying on you. Stick it out, keep fighting.
And as I tell people too, sometimes you are never practicing speaking. You always put your best effort forward, because you never know who you're going to impact.
Yeah, and life never fires a warning shot. I mean, we're here now.
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Like that's it. It's simple for me. I just think it's very, very. I consider my two greatest traits, and I say it on stage. My two greatest traits are naivety and stupidity. I'm too naive to know I can't do it, and I'm too stupid to stop once I start. And everyone thinks I'm joking, but I'm being totally serious, because all these smart people ask so many questions. They talk themselves out of it before they even get started.
Love it. Great ones. Thank you for tuning in. This was a fantastic episode. And as I always like to tell people, please remember to be your best, to be inspired, to be great. We'll talk to everybody later. Bye, everyone.